If you've searched things to do in Quebec City, start with this. The best of it costs almost nothing, and a lot of it sits outside the old walls that most tourists never leave. I've got 18 things here ranked with the ones worth skipping called out along the way. And the single best site in the whole area isn't even in the old town. It's a waterfall 15 minutes north that's taller than Niagara. Let me start right there. Number 1, Montmorency Falls. It sits about 15 minutes northeast of the old town, an easy drive, and it drops 83 meters, which is around 270 feet. That's taller than Niagara by a good 30 meters. Now Niagara is much wider and moves far more water, so on size it wins easily. But on pure height, Montmorency takes it, and standing at the bottom looking up, you feel every meter. There's a cable car to the top, a suspension bridge that crosses right over the edge of the falls, and a zip line that runs across the front of it. One tip that matters here: if someone's dropping you off, get dropped at the top and walk down the stairs. There are just under 500 steps, and doing it the other way means climbing all of them. Also, sort out your ride home before you go, because getting a car at the bottom is a headache. Number 2 costs nothing, and honestly it's the thing I remember most about Quebec City. Just walk around the old town. The locals call it Vieux Quebec, and yes, they say it in French. A bit of background on why it looks the way it does. Quebec City is the only walled city in North America north of Mexico. It still has its full stone ramparts, its gates, and its old cannons, and the whole upper old town sits inside them. It's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which means it's on the official international list of places considered too important to lose. What that means for you is simple. The cobblestone streets, the stone houses, the little squares, all of it is the attraction and all of it is free. Same goes for the water. The public drinking fountains around the old town pour clean mountain water, so bring a bottle and skip the overpriced tourist kiosks. Go early. At 8 in the morning the streets are empty and it looks like a film set. By noon it's shoulder to shoulder with tour groups. So give yourself an afternoon with nothing booked and get lost in there. Number 3, the Chateau Frontenac. You can't miss it. It's the enormous hotel that looks like a French castle up on the cliff over the river with green copper roofs and pointed turrets. It opened in 1893 and it likes to call itself the most photographed hotel in the world. Nobody can really prove that, so take it with a grain of salt. What most people don't realize is that you can walk in and tour it even without a room. They run guided tours that anyone can join, and the history is worth it. This is where Churchill and Roosevelt met in 1943 to plan the D-Day landings. The one thing I'd skip is eating at the hotel restaurant. The views are lovely, but you're paying tourist prices for food that's only okay. Have a drink at the bar for the room, then go eat somewhere better. Number 4, Dufferin Terrace, and this is where I want to make a point about money. The terrace is the big wooden boardwalk right in front of the Chateau Frontenac. It's free, it runs along the top of the cliff, and it has the best view in the city, straight out over the St. Lawrence River. There are old cannons along it, and in winter there's a wooden toboggan slide that's been running since 1884. Now there's also a paid observation deck in town, the Observatoire de la Capitale, up on the 31st floor of an office tower. It has the highest view in the city, sure. The catch is that it closes at 5, so no sunset, and you're looking through glass. The free terrace, open all the time, gives you a better view than the one you pay for. And right underneath it there's a small archaeological site with old fort ruins you can walk through in about 10 minutes, also free. Number 5, the Quartier Petit Champlain. This is the lower town down at the base of the cliff, and it's one of the oldest shopping streets in all of North America. Narrow cobblestone lanes, old stone buildings, little shops and cafes, and in one spot a lane roofed over with colorful umbrellas that everybody stops to photograph. To get down here from the upper town, you've got 2 choices. There's a staircase called the Escalier Causecou, which translates roughly as the breakneck stairs, and it's free. Or there's the funicular, a little railway car that climbs straight up and down the cliff face at a steep angle. It's been carrying people since 1879. It costs a few dollars, and its lower station is the old house of Louis Jolly, the explorer who mapped the Mississippi River back in 1673. Take the stairs down and the funicular back up, and you've done both. My favorite cheap trick in the whole city is number 6. Take the ferry across to Levis. Levis is the town on the far bank of the river, directly across from the old town. The ferry runs every half hour, the crossing takes about 12 minutes, and it costs a little over $4 each way. Almost everyone on board is mostly commuting to work, but you can walk on, ride across, and ride straight back. And for your $4, you get the postcard view of Quebec City from the water, the whole cliff, and the Chateau Frontenac rising above the river. I've taken that ferry across just to turn around and come straight back, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Go at night if you can. That's when it's spectacular. Quick thing, while we're on the subject of doing this cheaply, I've put together a guide on saving money while you travel, plus the tour operators I'd actually book with in Quebec City, and both are linked down in the description. Worth a look while you're still planning. Right, number 7. Number 7 takes you to the spot where the whole city started. Place Royale is a small cobbled square down in the lower town, and this is where Samuel de Champlain founded Quebec back in 1608. On one side stands a little stone church called Notre Dame des Victoires, the oldest stone church in North America, dating to the 1680s. It's small and plain next to the big cathedral, but that age is the point. Like the rest of the lower town, it's mobbed at midday, so come early or come late in the evening, when you can feel how old it is. Number 8 is a working army base you're allowed to walk into. The Citadel sits uphill from the old town on the highest point of the cliff, a huge star-shaped stone fort the British built in the 1820s and 30s. It's the largest fort of its kind on the continent, and it's still active today. The Royal 22nd Regiment is based here, Canada's French-speaking infantry, nicknamed the Van Deuce. In summer, they hold a changing of the guard most mornings, in full uniform with a regimental goat that marches along, which is a real thing. There's a military museum open year-round, and the views back over the city and the river are as good as any in Quebec. Number 9 is food, and specifically where to eat well, because this is where tourists get fleeced. You have to try poutine while you're up here. If you've never had it, it's French fries piled with cheese curds and hot brown gravy, and it's the local comfort food. Now, the trap. All over the old town, you'll see places advertising traditional Quebec food. Most of them are tourist traps, and locals will tell you the same. The honest move, and I'm quoting a local here, is that a good poutine in a good microbrewery is about as Quebec as it gets. For the poutine itself, there's a local chain called Chez Ashton that people here swear by, and they do one brilliant thing. In winter, your poutine gets a discount based on the temperature. Minus 15 outside, you get 15% off. Minus 25, 25% off. I love that. For a proper sit-down dinner, La Bouche does traditional Quebec cooking that's really good, and a spot called La Lapin Sauté is famous for a rabbit poutine. One warning, the good restaurants fill up fast, so book a table ahead. That was the single biggest regret I heard from other travelers, over and over. Number 10 is the park the locals actually use. Officially, it's Battlefields Park, but everyone calls it the Plains of Abraham, a big green space along the cliffs at the edge of the old town. The name comes from a battle in 1759, when the British beat the French right here, and that fight basically decided Canada would end up British rather than French. History aside, it's free, it's gorgeous, and it's where people come to run, picnic, and walk the dog. In July, they hold a big summer music festival right on the grass. In winter, it's part of the Winter Carnival. Any season, it's a break from the crowds. Number 11, and I'd underline this one, get outside the walls. Almost every tourist stays locked inside the old town the whole trip, and that's a shame because the neighborhoods just beyond the walls are where the city actually lives. Start with Saint Roch. It's a short walk downhill from the old town, and it's the hip part of the city, full of good restaurants, microbreweries, and coffee shops at prices that aren't aimed at tourists. If you've got more time, there's Saint Jean Baptiste, just up the main street past the walls, where you get normal daily life, and Limoilles, a little further out, with a nice local strip of cafes. The food out here is better, and it's cheaper. There's a reason for that. It's also where you'll find the more affordable hotels, if the old town prices scare you off. One quick favor before we keep going. A like on this helps it reach other people planning the same trip. That's it. Number 12. Number 12, the Notre Dame de Quebec Basilica. This is the big main cathedral in the Old Town, a different building from the little church I mentioned back at Place Royale. It's free to walk into, and inside it's all gilded gold and heavy carving. There's also a holy door here, a ceremonial door only a handful of churches in the world have, opened only in special holy years. Pop in for 10 minutes if you're passing. It's worth a look, but I wouldn't build the day around it. Number 13 is a single building that's been three completely different things. The Morin Center in the Old Town started as a jail back in the 1800s, then became the city's first English language college, and today it's an English cultural center wrapped around a beautiful old library, all dark wood and iron balconies. You can take a guided tour that walks you through the original jail cells and then that library. Almost no visitors make it inside, which is a shame because it's one of the more surprising rooms in the city. Number 14 is the Museum of Civilization, and this is the one I'd think twice about. It's a big, well-put-together museum down by the Old Port, covering Quebec's history and its indigenous cultures. On a rainy day, it's a great way to spend a few hours. On a nice day, I'd skip it. All of View Quebec is basically an open-air museum already, so save your indoor time for when the weather turns. Number 15, and now we're getting in the car because the next few are short drives out of town. First stop, the Basilica of Saint-Andy-Beaupré. It's about half an hour northeast, roughly 20 minutes past Montmorency Falls, so you can easily do the two on the same trip. This is the oldest pilgrimage site in North America. People have been coming here since 1658, and around 500,000 still come every year. Walk in with no faith at all, and the inside still stops you, all stained glass, mosaics, and stone columns. It's free to enter, and the sheer scale of it out in a small town catches everyone off guard. And if you've got a full day and a love of the water, keep going a couple of hours further up that same coast to Tadoussac, where you can watch whales, everything from small white belugas up to full-size blue whales, out where the Saguenay, a deep river gorge, empties into the St. Lawrence. Number 16, Jacques Cartier National Park. Keep driving, about 40 minutes north of the city, and the scene changes completely. You're suddenly in a deep glacial valley, a river running along the bottom, and steep green hills on both sides. There are over 100 kilometers of hiking trails, which is around 60 miles, and you can rent a canoe or a kayak right there and paddle the river. The rapids run from gentle to properly tricky, so there's a stretch for you, whether it's your first time in a boat or your 50th. It's also moose country, so keep your eyes open. If you need a break from cobblestones and history, this is your day. In winter, they run snowshoeing and cross-country skiing here instead. Ile d'Orléans is number 17, and it's the one locals get frustrated that visitors always miss. It's a rural island out in the river, just northeast of the city, reached by a single bridge near Montmorency. Think of it as the countryside pantry of Quebec. The whole island is farms, wineries, cider makers, cheese producers, chocolate shops, and bakeries, all strung along a quiet loop road with the river on one side. You can spend a whole afternoon driving from one tasting to the next. There's a place that makes liqueur out of blackcurrants, another doing farm ice cream, a chocolate maker in one of the villages, and from July into the fall, a lavender farm with tens of thousands of plants in bloom. If I had one extra day in Quebec City, this is exactly where I'd spend it. It's calm, it's delicious, and it's the opposite of fighting the old town crowds. Do it in summer or fall when everything's open. Number 18, and I'm saving something completely different for last. Village Vacances Valcarty, about half an hour northwest of the city. In summer, it's the biggest water park in the region, dozens of slides, and a giant wave pool. Great if you're traveling with kids. But the real reason it's on this list is what they build next door in winter, the Hôtel de Glace, which just means the ice hotel. It's the only one in North America, and they rebuild the whole thing from scratch every single winter out of ice and packed snow. Carved ice walls, an ice bar where even the glasses are made of ice, and a little chapel of ice where people really do get married. You can tour it in the day, or, if you're brave and well bundled up, spend the whole night in it. One catch. It only exists from about January to late March, so it's a winter-only stop. But there's nothing else like it up here. So there they are, all 18. And you've probably spotted the pattern by now. The waterfall, the walk, the terrace, the ferry, the park, the neighborhoods. The best of Quebec City is either free or close to it, and a lot of it sits outside the walls where most people never think to look. If you only have time for one thing, here's my honest pick. Skip the ticket lines and walk View Quebec, early in the morning before the crowds, or better yet on a night when it's snowing. It costs nothing, and it's the thing you'll actually remember. One last tip that makes the whole trip smoother: walk into any shop or restaurant here and start with bonjour, even if the rest of your French is hopeless. Up here, that one word gets you a long way.